Today we are going to cover the topic A Very Old Man with Enormous Wings by G.G. Marx. This is a bitter commentary of inhuman ways and selfishness done by humans. This is illustrated by a very simple and a very difficult way of narrating story. It includes realistic and magical events all together written by G.G. Marx. A very simple story wherein a married old couple finds out an old man with enormous wings in their courtyard, and this is how the story begins. To begin with, I would like to tell you that G.G. Marx was a very feminist writer, and he used to write in this style of commentary only. He used to illustrate various stories with imaginary events happening and with a realistic picture involved into it. He won an award, International Prize for Literature in 1972, and created the magic moments in realistic events. This is how the story begins. One day when Peleo, a coastal villager, goes to dispose of crabs that have been washed ashore onto his property, he discovers an old man with wings lying face down in the mud. The toothless creature is bald and dressed in rags. Bald means he was bald, had no hair on his head. As Peleo and his wife Elisenda carefully examine the creature looking for clues to its origin, it responds to their questions in a tongue that they cannot identify. They suspect that he is cast away from a ship. Other villagers who see the old man offer theories about his origins and appearance. The couple plan to set him adrift on a raft, but they first imprison him in a chicken coop. When a large crowd gathers around the coop, Peleo and his wife decide to charge admission to view him, thereby creating a circus-like atmosphere. Now, G.G. Marx tries to explain in these various two paragraphs that a couple, basically a coastal villager Peleo, found out a man in his courtyard with enormous huge wings lying down on the floor in mud with crippled face. He was a man with bald head, alright, and dressed in rags, and as Peleo and his wife Elisenda carefully try and examine the creature, they end up on a conclusion that the only thing that sets the creature, the old man, apart from normal humans is the enormous wings that he has. Initially, they cannot identify him. They try to pull up a conversation with him, but the old man eventually responds with a tongue that they cannot understand. Now here what the author is trying to say is that the old man tries to talk to them in some other or different language in which the humans, that is Peleo and Elisenda, are not able to understand. Eventually, they plan up to set away the old man and adrift on a raft, but they initially captivate him in a chicken coop. And later in the episode, they try and pull up money while pulling up tickets, charging tickets for the admission to view the old man. Moving on, the local priest, Father Gonzaga, is disturbed by rumors that the mysterious winged creature might be an angel. So he comes the next day to investigate. When the old man fails to understand Latin, the priest denounces him as impostor. Nevertheless, curious people travel great distances to see the creature, and a carnival arrives to take advantage of the large crowds. Now, when Peleo and Elisenda consulted their villagers and their neighbors, they had come up with various stories of the old man being an angel. Eventually, the local priest, that's Father Gonzaga, comes up to examine the old man because he is really disappointed with the stories coming up of the old man being an angel. Eventually, when he investigates the old man and he fails to understand what language is he trying to talk to, the priest denounces him as an impostor. Now, what is an impostor? A person who is trying to impose something or trying to fake out an act, right? Later, Later on, when this verdict was given by the priest, the people had started coming up from all the places across the nearby villages, and then there was a carnival set. Eventually, Paleo and Elisenda had started charging everybody for watching the man once. Now, Father Gonzaga, in the meantime, writes to the Pope in an attempt to ascertain the Church's official position on the creature and apparently miraculous occurrence that the crowds associate with the old man. Now, in the meanwhile, Father Gonzaga tries to write it to the Pope, and he wants to rule out the actual position of this old kind of a creature, and he writes it to the Pope apparently, and then all of a sudden a miraculous situation comes up. The Vatican demands to know if the old man knows Aramaic, if he can fit on the head of pin, and if he has a navel. Meanwhile, the sick and the handicapped come to the old man in search of cures. The old man does seem to perform miracles, but these miracles are gratuitous, in that they are unrelated to the sickness involved. A blind man, for example, grows 3 new teeth. Now, eventually, because people had started gathering out of all the places and out of all the rumors that it is an angel, they started coming over to see the angel to get themselves cured out of their sicknesses. There were certain miracles taking place, but these were not in terms of gratuitous sickness. So, then the people started getting disappointed, and eventually we need to understand the inhuman behavior of the human beings, wherein we fail to understand and we fail to feed the hunger, fail to clothe the naked, and yet out of our own needs we still keep and captivate the old man. Now, the crowds begin diminishing after the carnival puts on display a woman who has transformed into an enormous spider for having attended a dance without her parents' permission. Nevertheless, Paleo and his wife have profited so greatly from their enterprise that they purchase a new house and fine clothing. Now, when the story of the old man with enormous wings was going on, people were coming to see him, paying enormous money, huge amounts, just to witness him. They all of a sudden lose interest in him. One, when they realize that there are no miracles taking place. Second, when they realize that there are no cures to their sicknesses by the old man. And third, when a new lady who has been transformed into an enormous spider. Why? Because she did not take her parents' permission before attending a dance function or something, right? And they eventually lose interest from the old man because there is a new chapter of miracle involved in the episode. Nevertheless, Paleo and his wife have profited so greatly from their enterprise that they purchase a new house and fine clothing. After the chicken coop collapses, the old man moves into the couple's home where he becomes a nuisance. Now, the Paleo and Elisenda, they really don't mind moving the focus from the old man with enormous wings to the woman who has been turned into a spider, because they have eventually profited a lot, profited to an extent that they have bought a new house, new fine clothing, and as the chicken coop breaks down, the old man starts living with Paleo and Elisenda in their new captivated house. Over the years, the old man makes feeble attempts to fly, but not until the end of the story does he finally gain sufficient strength and altitude to fly away. Eventually, till the time the old man was with Paleo and Elisenda in their house, he keeps trying to fly away and doesn't attain the strength. But by the end of the episode, he eventually gains the strength to fly away and leaves them apart. Now, we will move on to the character sketch. The character sketch of the old man as an angel. The old man was a supernatural being. He was unable to communicate with all the people around because he was talking in some different tongue. As a captive, he remains indifferent to surroundings. His reactions are not of rage but of pain, reflects his prudence, the angel plays a pivotal role. Now, what do we actually mean by pivotal role? He has the only vital role because of which the story is taking place, is a heading in its situations. Now, this is one important question which has been coming in past 5 years in the ICSE exams, that is, in what ways is the story an example of magic realism with its author is known for. G.G. Marx, known for his style of magic realism, opening in an ordinary situation, entry of a strange creature, only his wings make him a figure belonging to some other world, and people rumor him out as an angel. People start looking out for miracles, and when miracles do not happen, they lose their interest in the angel, eventually leading it to the no use of angel. Now, these are basically the points that you have to pull up in these kinds of questions. We cannot discuss the entire question here, but these are the points that need to be covered in certain questions which are there in the question paper. Now we shall re-revise the summary again. According to G.G. Marx, this episode is all about a coastal villager, Paleo, and his wife who come across an old man with enormous wings lying down in their courtyard, right? Now that gains a lot of weightage, a lot of people start coming from the village to notice it. They try and communicate with the old man but cannot communicate because they could not identify its tongue, right? They suspect that it is a castaway and has arrived from a ship. But eventually they lose their interest of inhumanness and selfishness because there are no miracles taking place. People cannot get cured by the old enormous wings, and another creature, a huge woman with